Hey, I just wanted to check in. I haven't posted in a few days. I wanted to check in with a new sort of vlog to kind of go over what's been going on with the campaign since mid last week. We have had kind of a flurry of more support, so we are currently sitting at 165%. That's $826 currently pledged. Reminder, Keepsakes I initially pitched at needing just $500 to cover the printing costs. This is far beyond my wildest dreams, especially for my first project, the first thing I ever put out. I know in kind of the comic book world, horror can be, kind of a hard sell. Anything that isn't superheroes is kind of a hard sell. Anything that's kind of, isn't already a movie is a hard sell. So it's really, really cool to see people kind of stepping in and pledging to general unknown. I think less than half the pledges are people I know. So if anyone's out there, you just discovered me through this YouTube channel, if you discovered me through my endless shilling on the internet, or you just kind of like wandered into me from the Kickstarter Discover feature, thank you so much. Thank you so much to all of my friends who've been pledging. I'm not going to let any of you down. This is going to be, this is a real labor of love. This is a real, it's a collection of just really cool ideas that I've been working on for a long time. I hope you love them as much as I do. And, a lot of work has gone in to make sure that this is as high quality a product as I can possibly put out. So thank you so much for supporting. Keepsakes is, if you're not familiar, Keepsakes is a comic I'm currently trying to kickstart. We have obviously gone over our expected amount, so it's going to be coming out soon. It's a horror comic. It's a series of different short stories. They all have a framing device, which is two siblings after the funeral of their late father go down into his basement to try to start collecting and figuring out what to do with kind of all the old crap he's got down there. And then they start realizing that some of it may have some sinister origins as they discover new pieces and new artifacts from this collection, these keepsakes their father was collecting. We learn the backstory for each of them. It's everything kind of ties in together. We see things in one story that are paid off in another story. And I'm really, really happy with the way that everything kind of connected together. That being said, I'm excited to get this out there. Somebody was asking me if I have ideas for a sequel, which, maybe another collection with, the short story collection with, a framing device, but it would probably be different if I did it again. So I don't know if there's a Keepsakes 2 gonna happen, but we'll see. I was really delighted to see we're covered by a recent blog called Horror Fuel. Like there's some really, really, we've had some really, really great things to say. They got to see an early release PDF of the book. And yeah, it's been really wonderful to see folks from the horror community as well as the comics community really sort of, reach out and support as well. You always get this story that, comics is hard to break into. And I guess, I'm sure it is, but it's really cool to see, people who are around comics, horror, just, get excited about a new person, a new thing. So it's been really, really, really exciting. And I've really, really enjoyed all the attention that we've been getting from both the horror side of things and the comic side of things. I do have an interview coming up, probably on Thursday. We're recording it. I'm not sure when it'll be posted, but I'll talk about it here some more. And we'll talk, I'll post links up when it gets posted. But yeah, so that's going to be more comics focused. They reached out a little bit on Twitter and asked if they initially posted a thing asking if anybody has Kickstarters. Me trying to be Mr. Online Shill, tried to let them, hey, I got something. And they reached back out and they wanted to do an interview. It was really cool. So I will let you folks know when that goes up. And trying to think if there's any other cool news regarding Keepsakes. No, we're sort of, racing towards $1,000. If we can make $1,500, we'll get to our first stretch goal, which I believe is no ads on any of the versions of it, which is kind of exciting. I've seen some printed versions, some printed indie comics. They all have like, I don't know, the Comics Wellspring or the Kablam ads, and those are, I'm sure wonderful companies, but if you can avoid having ads on your books, it's that's great. So I would like that. If we can make it to 1,500, we'll have that. That is obviously not going to be any ads for the prestige or the special editions, which are going to be the with the alternate artwork that's only going to be available on this Kickstarter. At any rate, that's where we are in the campaign. I'm hoping to, I'm going to get some more attention and, get towards, if we can blow out these few stretch goals, we can start figuring out some new ones, maybe bookmarks, stickers. I think I have a hookup for stickers back from when I was making music. Maybe I'll start thinking about other merchandise we can start putting up. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out some cool add-ons. If anybody has any suggestions, please feel free to shoot me an email, shoot me a Kickstarter message. You can shoot me a message through YouTube, whatever you like. If anybody's a retailer, if you want like a retailer version of this, go ahead and reach out. We'll figure out some sort of volume discount. It definitely helps to know if you're trying to figure out the pricing for things. If you're trying to figure out your cost, it definitely helps to know, how many copies of each thing you're going to be printing. For this episode, I was going to show some another horror comic that influenced me. And I sort of found something that kind of split the difference between what you traditionally think of as a horror comic and what you traditionally think of as a superhero comic. So this is The Black Mirror. This was one of my favorite books that came out in the in the aftermath of I believe this was after the return of Bruce Wayne. I think so in the mid 2000s, late 2000s, there was a long run on Batman by a writer called Grant Morrison. He worked with a lot of different artists on that. Let me see. I think Chris Burnham had worked on that. There's a couple of fantastic ones, and unfortunately, their names are just escaping me right now. Definitely call me out in the comments for forgetting all the wonderful artists that worked on that Batman run. But there was a portion of it called Batman R.I.P., which in which Batman appeared to die. He didn't die, but then he came back for a larger event in which he did die, but then it was revealed he didn't die, but there was a body. DC continuity. At any rate, I believe this is after Bruce Wayne had returned, but he wasn't ready to be Batman again, or he wasn't ready to be Batman in Gotham City again. So you sort of had Dick Grayson, who is originally the first Robin. He became Nightwing. I think he's gone through a couple other identities right now. I think right now he's just Rick Grayson. He was Agent Grayson, I think, of Spiral for a while. He had like a spy thriller comic series, which as I remember, was really good. I need to go back and reread it in a collected form. I was just reading odd floppies at the time. Anyway, this is written by Scott Snyder, who would later kind of go on to be known as like the Batman writer of the 2010s. He's sort of the measuring stick by which kind of all the runs are really judged by now. He has a style which is very digging into the history of Gotham, so he'll have a lot of stuff that will be tied back to secret societies and the founding of Gotham. And a lot of that will be very conspiracy based, a lot of you thought you knew what was going on but you really don't kind of stuff. And a lot of that, those sorts of plot points kind of pick up a lot in his work. But this first work was, like I said, Batman the Black Mirror, the concept being that Gotham itself is a black mirror. Whatever hero it has, in this case, traditionally it's been Bruce Wayne as Batman. In this case, it is Dick Grayson as Batman. It will throw you the villains you deserve. So a lot of this is sort of built around almost sort of Gotham trying to prototype villains for Dick Grayson. There'll be a secret society of like souvenir thieves from true crime, or there'll be horrifying monsters. One of the big things that kind of gets picked up throughout this book is one of the characters from some of the earlier Batman stories, specifically Batman Year One, that disappeared. So Commissioner Gordon, during Batman Year One, I think had two kids, which was Barbara Gordon and the other one being Jim Gordon Jr. So Barbara Gordon, obviously we know Barbara Gordon went on to be Batgirl, went on to become Oracle, and then become Batgirl again. Jim Jr., however, seemed to just kind of disappear. Scott Snyder sort of brought back Jim Gordon Jr., and there's a very cool is he or isn't he the true villain of the story. There's some things which are brought up in this story which kind of lead themselves to another famous Batman story called The Dark Knight Returns. There's kind of an implication that the actions of one of the villains in this might cause some of the events that happen in the Dark Knight Returns. So there's some beautiful artwork. Very, very cool artwork, both on the line art side, the coloring side. Here's some of the absolutely disgusting monsters that you'll see. These are nasty, beautiful things. A lot of there's one very famous cover from this that's made it. It's become T-shirts. It's become posters. But that image right there, that's a very sort of iconic Joker shot. Although the Joker is not huge in this comic book. At any rate, this sort of splits the difference between superhero stuff and horror comics. It's drawn beautifully by Jock, who is, I believe, a Scottish artist. I'm assuming that's why he's called Jock rather than his football prowess. And Francesco Francavilla. They don't have identical artwork styles. However, they have very complementary art styles. And it's absolutely beautiful. Jock has a lot more sort of the scratchier, dark inks or heavy inks, while Francesco has more of, I think, I would say probably something around like Charles Burns meets Alex Toth kind of old school comics, but with a very heavy shadow. There's probably some Mike Mignola in there. At any rate, this is a fantastic, fantastic comic. I thoroughly recommend it. If you're a superhero person, if you're a Batman person, get it. If you're a horror person and you're just kind of like interested in what people from more of the superhero world, I guess, Scott Snyder's done a lot of horror stuff, so he isn't just from the superhero world. But if you're interested in what people from, maybe not traditional horror comic background can do with horror tropes, give it a try. It's a fantastic read. It is absolutely beautiful. Just be aware, if you're familiar with, regular Batman continuity. Dick Grayson's Batman in this one. You don't really need much else from it aside from it's Dick Grayson. He was Robin. Now he's Batman for a short time only. He's looking after Gotham while Batman's gallivanting around the world. And you really don't need much else from it that you couldn't pick up from the dialogue. Kind of helps to have read Batman Year One. There was an animated adaptation of it pretty recently that you could probably just watch and get most of the story from that if you're not into reading, 2 books for one. And it sort of slots nicely into the history of Batman and sort of sets up a could-be future for Batman as well. Definitely give this one a chance. At any rate, that's all I got for you today. Thank you for giving to the Kickstarter. Thank you for all of your support. If you could give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to try to put up one of these a day, hopefully. I kind of, I'm sort of figuring out what this channel should be post-Kickstarter, so if you have any ideas. I kind of want to do more sort of positive content, reviews of stuff that I love, and, maybe talk about, maybe talk about, like, cool things from the 90s that go overlooked, some Caliber comic stuff, maybe like a kind of a journey into like 90s goth comics, like Ted Nafee and Jonan Vasquez, Roman Dirge. If there's anything out there that you think you'd like me to look into or sort of present in this channel, please let me know. So yeah, give it a like, give it a subscribe, share it on social media. Please feel free to continue pledging to the Kickstarter. Please give me your money. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you.